I had always thought betrayal was something that happened to other men, the weak ones, the naive ones. But when my wife, Emily, sat across from me at the dinner table, smiling sweetly like nothing had changed, I realized how blind I had been. The truth hit me like a sledgehammer, and it all started with a single, twisted request from my boss. It was a Friday night when I got the call. My boss, Richard, the smug, power-hungry prick who always thought he was above everyone else, invited me to his place for a business opportunity. His voice had that oily charm that always made my skin crawl, but I went anyway. I needed the promotion, and in this company, if you weren't in Richard's circle, you were just another disposable employee. I arrived at his penthouse, expecting the usual corporate backstabbing disguised as small talk. Instead, I found Emily there, already sitting on his couch, sipping wine like she belonged. She was dressed in a way that made my stomach tighten, not because I found her attractive, but because I knew that outfit wasn't for me. It was her hunting look, the one she wore when she wanted to feel desired. Richard smirked when he saw me. "Ah, perfect timing," he said, standing up. "I was just telling Emily about our little arrangement." My throat went dry. Arrangement? Emily set her wine glass down and looked at me like I was a child who didn't understand the rules of the game. "Oh, don't act so surprised, babe," she purred. "Richard thinks you have potential, but he wants to make sure you're truly committed to the company." I turned to Richard, my pulse hammering. "What the hell does that mean?" He chuckled, pouring himself another drink. "It's simple. I like your wife, and I want to see how much you're willing to sacrifice for success." He leaned back, watching me like a cat playing with a mouse. "You let me have her for one night. No strings attached. In return, you get the promotion you've been busting your ass for." For a second, I thought I had misheard. I looked at Emily, waiting for her to laugh, to tell me it was all some sick joke. But she just gave me that smirk, the one she wore when she knew she had the upper hand. "You should think about it," she said, crossing her legs slowly. "It's just business, after all." Something inside me snapped. I had spent years building a life with this woman, thinking we were a team, thinking she respected me. But in that moment, I saw the truth. She was never my partner. She was just waiting for the next best offer. I stood up, my hands shaking with rage. "Go to hell, both of you," I spat, turning on my heel and heading for the door. As I walked out, I heard Richard chuckle behind me. "You'll regret this, Jason," he called out. "Men like you always do." I didn't regret a damn thing. But as I stepped onto the street, the cold night air hitting my face, one thing was clear. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. I walked down the street, my fists clenched so tightly my nails dug into my palms. My mind raced with a whirlwind of emotions. Rage, humiliation, disbelief. I had spent years building a life with Emily, thinking we were partners, only to find out she was willing to throw it all away for some power trip with my boss. The air was cold, but my blood was boiling. I needed to calm down, to think rationally, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw her sitting there in that tight dress, smirking at me like I was nothing more than an inconvenience. I reached my car, slammed the door shut, and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A part of me hoped it was Emily, calling to say it was all a mistake, some kind of sick joke. But when I pulled it out, I saw Richard's name flashing on the screen. My thumb hovered over the reject button, but then I thought, no, let's hear what this bastard has to say. I answered, keeping my voice steady. "What?" Richard's chuckle was like nails on a chalkboard. "I admire your integrity, Jason. Really, I do. But I think you're making a big mistake. I don't give a damn what you think. Don't be so hasty." His voice was calm, condescending. "You know Emily's still here, right? We're just having a little chat. About you, about us, about what she really wants." I gritted my teeth. "Put her on the phone." A brief pause, then her voice came through, sickeningly sweet. "Jason, don't be so dramatic. You're acting like a child." I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. "Are you serious right now?" She sighed, as if I was the one being unreasonable. You stormed out like some insecure little boy. This was an opportunity. You could have played it smart, but instead, you're acting like your pride is more important than our future. Our future. I let out a bitter laugh. There is no future if you're willing to do this. Her voice turned sharp. Oh, grow up, Jason. Men with real ambition don't get emotional over things like this. They understand power, influence. They take what's given and play the game. I gripped the phone so hard I thought it might crack. So what, you're sleeping with him now? Right now, as we speak. A long pause. Then, with a tone so casual it made me sick, she said, Not yet. That was it. The final straw. I hung up and threw my phone onto the passenger seat, my whole body shaking with fury. I had wasted years on this woman, believing we had something real, and now she was treating me like I was nothing more than an obstacle in her climb to the top. I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Driving home felt like an out-of-body experience. My thoughts were scattered, bouncing between heartbreak and rage, but through it all, one thing was clear. I needed a plan. Not just some angry confrontation where I yelled and she cried and then went right back to her games. No, I needed something that would make her regret ever underestimating me. By the time I got home, I had already made my decision. First, I needed evidence. If Emily wanted to play dirty, I was going to beat her at her own game. I started digging. Bank statements, text records, any little detail that could paint the full picture of how long this betrayal had been going on. I wasn't just looking for proof of the affair. I was looking for leverage. Something I could use to make sure she didn't walk away from this unscathed. And then I found it. An email. Buried in her inbox, hidden under a mundane subject line, was a message from Richard. My stomach twisted as I read it. Emily, I know Jason won't go for it, but you don't need him. Come over tonight. Let's finalize our arrangement. Once we take care of things, you'll have everything you want. He doesn't need to be in the picture anymore. My heart pounded. Take care of things? What the hell did that mean? I scrolled further, finding more messages, more clues. It wasn't just an affair. They had been planning something bigger. Something that involved getting rid of me. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen, realization hitting me like a truck. This wasn't just about cheating. They were planning to erase me from the equation entirely. And I wasn't about to let that happen. I sat there, staring at the email, my pulse hammering in my ears. Take care of things could mean anything, but I wasn't naive. They weren't just planning to humiliate me, they wanted me gone. My hands shook as I scrolled through more messages, piecing together their little conspiracy. Richard was promising her a future without me. Money, power, influence, everything she thought she deserved, and I was just an inconvenience standing in her way. She had played me for a fool, smiling in my face while stabbing me in the back. A rush of cold anger settled in my chest. I wasn't just some disposable pawn in their game. If they wanted war, I'd give them one. But I wasn't going to be reckless. I was going to be smart, methodical, the way they never expected me to be. I took screenshots of everything. Emails, texts, call logs. Every disgusting message. Every lie. Every manipulative word. Then, I backed it up to multiple locations, a USB drive, cloud storage, even printed copies. If they thought they could erase me, they had no idea who they were dealing with. My phone buzzed again. Emily. I let it ring, watching her name flash on the screen. The audacity of this woman. After everything, she still had the nerve to call me like nothing had happened. Then a text popped up. Emily ***, we need to talk. Now. ***. I smirked. Oh, now she wanted to talk? Too bad. She didn't deserve the courtesy. Instead, I called someone else, my lawyer. The next morning, I walked into my office like nothing had happened. Richard was already there, leaning against my desk like he owned the place, sipping his overpriced coffee. Jason, he greeted me, smiling like a snake. Glad to see you're thinking things through. I was worried you'd let emotions get the best of you. I dropped my bag onto the desk, meeting his gaze with an expression so cold it made his smirk falter. You should be worried, Richard. His brow furrowed. Excuse me? I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. I know everything. His smile twitched. I don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out my phone, tapping the screen. His own email stared back at him, the damning words glaring under the fluorescent lights. His face lost all color. You son of a... I cut him off. Save it. You and Emily? Your little arrangement? It's over. I leaned back, keeping my voice steady. You thought I was weak, that I'd roll over and take it. But you made one big mistake. You underestimated me. Richard's jaw clenched. He looked around, as if calculating his options. Then he forced a laugh. All right, Jason. What do you want? I smiled. Simple. I want you out. His expression darkened. You don't have that kind of power. Not yet, I admitted. But give it a few hours. I've sent everything to the board. Emails, texts, proof of your little affair with an employee's wife. Do you think they're going to let this slide? Richard swallowed hard. I continued. By noon, your resignation letter will be on my desk. If it's not, I go public. You'll lose everything. Your job, your reputation, your precious power. I tilted my head. And trust me, Richard, I will make sure every single person knows what kind of man you really are. For the first time, I saw something in his eyes that looked like fear. I stood up, straightening my tie. Enjoy your coffee, Richard. It's your last one here. And with that, I walked out, leaving him sitting there, seething. But I wasn't done yet. Emily was next. Emily was waiting for me when I got home, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine like she didn't have a care in the world. She barely glanced up as I walked in, swirling the deep red liquid in her glass like a villain in a cheap movie. We need to talk, she said, her voice cold, clipped. No fake sweetness this time. No pretend innocence. I shut the door behind me, taking my time as I pulled off my jacket. Oh, we're past talking, Emily. Her lips twitched into something resembling a smirk. Jason, don't be dramatic. I let out a short laugh. Dramatic? You mean like you cheating on me with my boss? Like you planning to humiliate me in front of him? Or maybe you mean the part where you were hoping I'd just disappear so you could upgrade your lifestyle. She sighed, finally looking at me. I knew you'd take this personally. I stared at her. Are you serious right now? She set her wine glass down and folded her arms. Look, you and I both know this marriage hasn't been working for a long time. You're comfortable, predictable. I needed more. Richard offered me more. I clenched my jaw, my hands curling into fists at my sides. Offered you more? What, money? Power? Status? She shrugged. All of it. I shook my head in disbelief. And you were just going to throw me away like trash? Lie to me, cheat on me, humiliate me. She leaned forward, her expression twisting into something cruel. Jason, grow up. People cheat. People move on. I was just ahead of you in realizing it. I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to stay calm. You're disgusting. She rolled her eyes. Spare me the righteous act. What do you want? A sobbing confession? A dramatic apology? She scoffed. Please. I studied her for a moment, then smirked. No. I want you to pack your things and get the hell out. That got her attention. Her smirk vanished, replaced by genuine surprise. Excuse me? You heard me? I said, crossing my arms. I already spoke to a lawyer. This house is mine. My name is on everything. You have no claim here, Emily. She scoffed, standing up. You're not serious. Oh, I'm dead serious, I said, stepping closer. You thought you were playing me, but you played yourself. You see, I have proof. Of everything. The affair, the manipulation, the backstabbing. I've already sent it to the lawyer. By tomorrow morning, divorce papers will be filed, and you'll be out of my life. She narrowed her eyes. You wouldn't dare. I grinned. Watch me. For the first time, she looked uncertain. You can't just kick me out. Yes, I can. And I will. But don't worry. I'm not completely heartless. I pulled out an envelope from my pocket and tossed it onto the coffee table. There's a prepaid hotel room for 3 nights. After that, you're on your own. She glared at me. You think I need your pity? No, I think you need a reality check, I said. And trust me, this is just the beginning. Her face twisted with rage, but I didn't care. I turned and walked toward the bedroom, leaving her standing there, seething. Jason, you're making a mistake, she called after me. I paused at the doorway. No, Emily. The only mistake was ever trusting you. I shut the door behind me, listening to the sound of her furious breathing. She thought she had won. She thought she was untouchable. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. I sat on the edge of the bed, my heart still pounding in my chest. The adrenaline was coursing through me, but I felt something else beneath it. A sense of clarity, like the fog had finally lifted. She thought she had me cornered, that I'd crumble, beg, fight for her. But she underestimated me. Outside the bedroom door, I heard her pacing back and forth in the living room, probably thinking of some way to manipulate the situation. Maybe she thought she could still talk her way out of this. Maybe she believed I was bluffing about the proof, about the lawyer. She had no idea just how far ahead I was. I took a deep breath, exhaling slowly. I wasn't going to let her rattle me. A sharp knock on the door. Jason. I didn't answer. She knocked again, harder this time. Open the damn door. I chuckled to myself. Not interested. A pause. Then her voice softened, dripping with that fake sweetness she used when she wanted something. Baby, come on. Let's be adults about this. I almost laughed. The audacity. I stood up, walked to the door, and leaned against it. Adults? That's rich. Coming from you. She sighed dramatically. Okay, I get it. You're mad. But let's talk about this. No. Jason. I opened the door just enough to look her in the eyes. Emily, let me make this crystal clear for you. I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear another lie, another excuse, another manipulative little speech. You lost. Her jaw tightened. You can't just erase me from your life like this. I smirked. Watch me. She clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. I could see the rage simmering beneath the surface. She hated losing control. You really think you're going to be okay without me? She asked, tilting her head. You think some lawyer is going to magically fix everything for you? No. I think kicking you out of my life is going to fix everything for me. She scoffed. You're being emotional. I raised an eyebrow. Emotional? No. Emotional was when I found out my own wife was screwing my boss behind my back. Emotional was when I realized the person I loved was nothing but a liar. This is me taking back control. She crossed her arms. Fine. You want me out? I'll leave. But don't expect me to come crawling back when you realize what a mistake you've made. I grinned. Oh, I won't. She turned sharply on her heel, grabbed her purse from the couch and stormed toward the door. She yanked it open, but before she could step out, she hesitated. Then she turned her head slightly, her voice lower now. You know, Jason, Richard isn't the only one. I stared at her, my stomach twisting for half a second before I forced myself to stay still. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction. She smirked. Yeah, that's what I thought. And then she walked out, slamming the door behind her. I stood there for a moment, letting the silence settle in. I should have felt broken, wrecked, maybe even humiliated. But I didn't. I felt free. I grabbed my phone, opened my messages, and sent a single text to my lawyer. Send the papers. Then I grabbed my keys and walked out. I wasn't done yet. Not even close. I stepped outside, the cold night air hitting my skin like a slap. My heart was still pounding, but not from fear or sadness. No, this was something else. It was the thrill of finally being in control. I climbed into my car and sat there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, letting the events of the night settle in my mind. Emily was gone. The woman who had lied to my face, disrespected me, treated me like an idiot. She was finally out of my life, but there was still unfinished business. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I found the name I was looking for. Richard Carter. My thumb hovered over the call button. Part of me wanted to show up at his house right now, to watch the smug look on his face disappear when he realized his little game was over. But that would be too easy. Too quick. No, he needed to suffer. I had spent the last week gathering everything I needed. Screenshots of Emily's messages, hotel receipts, emails from his work account. This wasn't just an affair. This was a scandal waiting to explode. I opened my laptop and drafted an email. The recipient, the board of directors at our company. Subject * urgent matter concerning Richard Carter's professional conduct. I took my time, making sure every sentence was perfect. I attached all the proof, added a polite yet firm request for an internal investigation, and hit send. Within seconds, I got a notification. Message delivered. I smirked. That was step 1. Step 2? Making sure Richard knew exactly who was behind it. I dialed his number, and after 2 rings, he picked up. Jason. His voice was groggy, like I had woken him up. "Hey, boss," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. He sighed. "Look, if this is about Emily." "It is." I cut him off. "And it's also about the email I just sent to the board." Silence. I let that sink in before continuing. "By this time tomorrow, everyone at the company is going to know what kind of man you really are. Hope it was worth it. You son of a—" I hung up before he could finish. I sat back in my seat, letting out a slow breath. That felt good. No, that felt incredible. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages. Coworkers, friends, even people I barely spoke to were sending me screenshots of the fallout. Richard had been suspended pending investigation. His wife, oh yeah, she found out too. Apparently, she had no idea. She was already filing for divorce. Emily tried calling me. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, her voice frantic. "Jason, please, we need to talk. You can't just delete." I wasn't interested in anything she had to say. By the end of the week, Richard was fired. His career ruined. His marriage over. His reputation completely destroyed. As for Emily, she had nowhere to go. The house? It was mine. Her credit cards? Cancelled. She tried reaching out to mutual friends, but no one wanted anything to do with her. It was poetic justice. I sat on my couch, sipping a drink, finally at peace. I had lost a wife, but I had gained something far more valuable. Self-respect. A week had passed, and my life had taken a complete turn. No more walking on eggshells. No more worrying about where Emily was. No more checking my phone every 5 minutes, wondering if she was lying to me. The house was quiet, too quiet, but it was my space now. No trace of her remained. I had packed up her things and left them outside in a couple of garbage bags. She had tried to call, tried to text, even banged on the door once, but I never answered. Then came the apology messages. The fake, manipulative, guilt-tripping messages that made my blood boil. Jason, please, you don't understand. I was lost. I made a mistake. We can fix this. I still love you. Please don't shut me out like this. It was just physical. It didn't mean anything. We can rebuild. I almost laughed. Rebuild? After she publicly humiliated me, betrayed me, and threw away everything we had for a man who didn't even care about her? She was delusional. But the last message, that one got me. If you don't take me back, you'll regret it. You have no idea what I'm capable of. And just like that, she showed her true colors again. The fake remorse had run out, and now she was back to being the bitter, manipulative snake she had always been. I didn't respond. Instead, I did what any sane person would do. I blocked her. But Emily wasn't the type to just disappear quietly. The first sign of trouble came when I got home from work and saw my car had been keyed. Deep, ugly scratches ran along the side, and I didn't need a detective to figure out who was behind it. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to stay calm. A day later, my tires were slashed. I didn't react. Then, she left a note taped to my front door. "You don't get to move on without me." That was enough. I went straight to the police and filed a report. They told me they couldn't do much without direct proof, but I knew how Emily operated. She wasn't going to stop. That night, I installed security cameras around my house, and it didn't take long to catch her in the act. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed with an alert. Motion detected. I opened the live feed and there she was, standing in my driveway, spray paint in her hand. She was laughing as she wrote something across my garage. I didn't even have to guess what it said. I grabbed my phone and dialed. 911. What's your emergency? Yeah. My psycho ex-wife is vandalizing my property right now. They arrived within 10 minutes, catching her red-handed. She tried to play dumb, tried to act like it wasn't a big deal, but the footage didn't lie. Watching her get shoved into the back of a police car was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. But even then, I knew she wasn't done. I just didn't realize how far she was willing to go. Emily was out of jail by the next afternoon. Apparently, vandalism wasn't a big enough crime to keep her locked up for more than a few hours. That should have been the end of it. She should have gotten the message that I was done with her, that she wasn't going to intimidate or manipulate me into taking her back. But Emily wasn't wired like a normal person. The first sign that she was escalating came 2 nights later. I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing relentlessly. At first, I thought it was just another spam call. But when I glanced at the screen, I saw dozens of missed calls from an unknown number. I ignored it and rolled over, but then the texts started coming in. Asterisk, open the door. Asterisk. Asterisk, Jason. I know you're awake. Asterisk. Asterisk. You can't ignore me forever. Asterisk. Then came the pictures. A selfie of Emily standing outside my house. The timestamp? 2 minutes ago. My blood turned to ice. I grabbed my baseball bat from under the bed and moved to the window. Sure enough, there she was, standing at the end of my driveway, barefoot in her pajamas, eyes locked on my house like a horror movie villain. I turned on the porch light, hoping it would scare her off. She didn't flinch. She just tilted her head and smiled. I didn't hesitate this time. I called the cops, and while I was on the phone, she started pounding on the door. Jason, talk to me. Bang, bang, bang. You're ruining everything. I did this for US. That last part made my stomach turn. What the hell did she mean by that? The cops showed up within minutes. By the time they arrived, Emily was sitting on my porch, legs crossed, arms wrapped around herself like she was some innocent, confused victim. The second she saw them, she burst into fake tears. He's lying, she sobbed. I just wanted to talk. I love him. The officers looked at me, then at her, then at the security cameras mounted on my house. I didn't even need to say a word. They dragged her off the porch and put her in cuffs. This time, she wasn't just getting a warning. I pressed charges for trespassing and harassment. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. The look on his face made my stomach drop before he even said a word. Jason, we need to talk about something serious. He turned his monitor toward me. My heart stopped. There on the screen was a fake email sent from an anonymous address to the company's HR department. It contained screenshots of doctored messages, making it look like I had been sexually harassing women at work. Emily. It had to be her. She couldn't break me emotionally, so now she was trying to ruin my entire life. I felt a mix of rage and panic bubbling in my chest. Sir, this is fake. I swear to you it's fake. My boss sighed. I believe you, Jason, but we have to investigate this. HR is involved now. I knew what that meant. Even if I was innocent, this kind of accusation could destroy my career. She wasn't just trying to get back at me. She was trying to erase me. I clenched my fists. No, not this time. She wanted to play dirty? Fine. I'd show her what real revenge looked like. I left my boss's office with a fire in my chest. I wasn't just angry. I was done. Emily had crossed a line she couldn't come back from. Messing with my car, breaking into my house, all of that was one thing. But trying to sabotage my job? Trying to make me look like some kind of predator? That was war. I wasn't going to just sit back and let her burn my life to the ground. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. Jason, he said after I told him everything. This isn't just harassment anymore. This is defamation. We need to hit back. Hard. Good. That was exactly what I wanted to hear. But before we could even start taking legal action, Emily did something even worse. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. Asterisk, check your email, babe. You're gonna love this one. Asterisk. I opened my inbox and felt the blood drain from my face. Emily had sent an email blast to my entire office, boss, coworkers, even HR, containing fake screenshots of texts and emails she had edited to make it look like I was cheating on her for years. She framed it like some kind of public exposure, a brave confession about her abusive, lying ex. The subject line? Asterisk, the truth about Jason Walker. Asterisk. The email itself? Filled with complete lies. She made it sound like I was some kind of serial cheater, a manipulative gaslighter who had strung her along for years, only to discard her like trash. She even attached photos of us together, trying to make it look like she was some heartbroken, innocent victim. And because Emily was so good at playing the victim, some people actually believed it. By the time I got to work the next morning, whispers followed me everywhere. Some of my coworkers looked at me like I was a monster. Others, the ones who actually knew me, looked uncomfortable, like they wanted to ask me about it but didn't know how. I didn't say a word. I just walked straight into HR. By now, my lawyer had already contacted them about the false harassment claims, and with this new email blast, they were starting to see the full picture. Jason, my HR rep said, rubbing her temples. We're documenting everything, but I have to be honest, this is getting out of hand. Have you considered a restraining order? I had considered a lot of things. A restraining order was one of them. But at this point, I didn't want Emily kept away from me. I wanted her ruined. So while HR handled the damage at work, I started putting my own plan together. Step 1. I needed to know exactly how deep this rabbit hole went. Emily was a liar, but she was also sloppy. She liked to run her mouth when she got cocky, and she had a habit of oversharing when she thought she had the upper hand. So I did something risky. I texted her. Asterisk, you win. Can we talk? Asterisk. It took less than 30 seconds for my phone to light up with an incoming call. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call. And another. Finally, she texted. Asterisk. I knew you'd come crawling back. Asterisk. I gritted my teeth. She really thought I was broken. Good. Let her think that. Just meet me. I texted. Asterisk, one last time. No cops, no drama. Just us. Asterisk. I could practically feel her excitement through the screen. Asterisk. Name the place, baby. Asterisk. I chose a coffee shop. Public, neutral, safe. Not because I was scared. Asterisk, asterisk, I just needed witnesses. Asterisk, asterisk. She showed up exactly how I expected her to. Smug, arrogant, like she had already won. I played my part perfectly. I let her talk, let her gloat, let her reveal way too much. She laughed about the fake emails, bragged about how easy it was to convince people that I was a liar, a cheat, a predator. And then, in a moment of pure, stupid arrogance, she admitted to everything. Loudly, in a room full of people. And thanks to the little voice recorder in my pocket, I had every word on tape. Step 1. Complete. Now it was time to end her. I walked out of that coffee shop with my heart pounding, my hands steady, and my next move already planned. Emily had just signed her own death warrant, figuratively speaking. I listened to the recording in my car, making sure her voice was clear.